Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Friday, September 30th, 2016. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. Today marked the start day for constructing the Trans-Adriatic Pipeline in Albania. Construction of the Trans-Adriatic Pipeline entered the important phase of laying the pipes, which will permeate 215 kilometers all around Albania. The occasion was marked by a ceremony near the town of Fier, attended by Albania's Prime Minister Edi Rama, the Minister of Energy and Industry, Damian Gjuknuri, and the TAP Managing Director, Ian Bradshaw. Prime Minister Rama declared that the Albanian economy will benefit €1 billion over the next 20 years and announced that the contract with TAP is being renegotiated so that Albania can have equal benefits with Greece. The number of people who will be employed in this project will go up to 4,200. Our economy will benefit €1 billion in the coming 20 years. We inherited an agreement with a large gap regarding the benefits from this project compared to other countries. I am grateful to the company which negotiated with us to find a solution, said the Prime Minister, who emphasized that Vlora's power plant will be put back to work thanks to this strategic project. Meanwhile, the Minister of Energy and Industry said that establishing an Albanian gas company is planned. Establishing a gas company is our aim. There has been an increased interest from foreign companies who are interested in establishing a gas sector, the minister said. The 870-kilometer pipeline will be connected to the Trans-Anatolian pipeline on the Turkish-Greek border, which runs through Greece, Albania, and the Adriatic Sea before coming ashore in southern Italy. TAP's route through Albania will be approximately 215 kilometers onshore and 37 kilometers offshore in the Albanian section of the Adriatic Sea. The project is expected to finish by 2020. The Foreign Chambers of Commerce spoke out against the law on the Chambers of Commerce that was passed yesterday in Parliament. The American Chamber of Commerce argues that despite the changes made, the law violates the freedom of businesses and obligates business owners to join the Common Chamber of Commerce, which will be established according to the new law. The American Chamber of Commerce's attitude is that every business owner should have the freedom guaranteed in the Constitution to be part of what organization they want to represent, including the right not to be part of any of them. Also, the British Chamber opposes the approval of the Chamber of Commerce law. In a press release, it says that forced membership into the Joint Chamber of Commerce is an extra cost on businesses and an obligation which creates the sensation of being forced, especially as this law does not obligate the local chambers to offer something in return to businesses. However, according to the chairman of the Parliamentary Commission of Productive Activities, the law is necessary for a real representation of entrepreneurship needs in the country. He declares that the law is expected to change after 6 months. Annual membership quotas in the Joint Chamber of Commerce for all legal entities is not less than 3,000 lek and not more than 100,000 lek per year. The Ad Hoc Committee on Judicial Reform has finished their work on the package of 7 laws known as the emergency laws to start implementing the judicial reform. During today's meeting, the majority and the opposition consensually adopted the law on the special structures against corruption, which was negotiated by the U.S. mission OPDAT. The opposition had rejected how the judges and special prosecutors were to be reevaluated and refused the executive role of bodies under the government's dependence, such as the High Inspectorate of Declaration and Audit of Assets and the Directorate of Classified Information Security. The formula agreed on with the International's intervention provides for establishing a non-political ad hoc commission to check the integrity of judges and special prosecutors and for administrating these institutions. The ad hoc committee will be composed of prosecutors from the special prosecution, a judge from the special court, an employee of the financial investigation section at the special prosecution, who will be appointed by the head of the special prosecution, and an investigator of the special investigative unit. After concluding the work on the emergency package, the Commission will start the second phase of the judicial reform, the amendment of 40 laws. The Assembly Speaker, Ilir Mehta, praised the consensus reached between the majority and the opposition at the Ad Hoc Commission on Judicial Reform for the Law on Special Prosecution Against Corruption. Mr. Mehta declared that consensus reached today shows that understanding and consensus can also be found for the other laws. The Assembly Speaker said that adopting the laws with consensus can bring a positive recommendation for opening negotiations with the European Union. The judicial reform is very important, and we should work tirelessly for understanding consensus and a constructive climate so that recent messages coming from Brussels for supporting a positive recommendation for consenting to negotiate to be made in the coming weeks, said Mr. Mehta. Referring to the recently adopted waste law, the Assembly Speaker thinks that the civil society can play an important role in monitoring the implementation of the law. Having the conviction that civil society has the right capacities and opportunities to verify waste law's implementation, civil society should monitor the law's implementation, declared the Assembly Speaker. During her official visit to Brussels, the Minister of Integration held a meeting with two European Parliament members, Knut Fleckenstein and Edward Kukan, with whom she spoke about Albania's EU integration. MEPs Edward Kukan and Knut Fleckenstein said that the implementation of the judicial reform is required to enable tangible results for Albanian citizens. The Minister of Integration, Klajda Gosha, said that Albania is determined to finalize the implementation of the judicial reform through the process of integration and that our country deserves a positive evaluation from the European Commission. In order to receive a positive recommendation, the adoption of the constitutional amendments for judicial reform has been a precondition for Albania. Also, the vetting law, which is already adopted, was a precondition. As the Minister of Integration, I ask that the promises made to Albanian citizens by EU's highest levels of a positive recommendation for consent to negotiate if the judicial reform was passed and if the vetting law was adopted be kept. I am convinced that a positive recommendation will give a great impetus to the Albanian government, together with the opposition, to work together, declared the Minister of Integration. Josha said that implementing the judicial reform means that we are all equal before the law. It is very important that we all be conscious that the law is above everyone and that it must be implemented, added the minister. The Ministers of Integration and Justice held a two-day visit to Brussels. After piloting it in 3 cities as proposed by the World Bank, the Albanian government has begun the economic aid reform. The Minister of Social Welfare and Youth clarified that there are 52 indicators which determine who can benefit from the state economic aid. The minister declared that there will no longer be partial economic aid and clarified that families with minimal wages will not be excluded from the plan. The new economic plan is assisted by the World Bank. We tested the new program in 3 cities. The economic aid program implementation starts today. There will be a digitized system for economic aid all around Albania. Economic funds for the needy have doubled, and partial economic aid will no longer be given. Those who do not have enough revenue will be included in the economic aid plan, declared the Minister of Social Welfare and Youth. He also added that economic aid will be received only temporarily, saying, "Help to be reintegrated is what disadvantaged families need. Local government should orient poor families towards integration, employment, and turn children towards education. The National Employment Service is preparing a full package with job offers in different sectors. In case these people lack qualification, our centers will be offering free qualification training so that they can get a job," the minister declared. Meanwhile, Shkodra's mayor asked for more funds and rights for local governments in order to manage social services. "We need the transfer of rights to local governments made possible. We also need financial support and a social fund to be created and managed by local governments. I hope the reform functions. We are cooperating. The reform should be properly implemented," said Shkodra's mayor. In the last 3 years, the government removed 23,000 families from the economic aid list as they were abusing the benefits. With the new reforms, the economic aid can be offered to 80,000 families around the country. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.